We do not agree with you, and your safety not only requires but demands that you must reintroduce multi-party politics. So Yoweri Kaguta Museveni concedes. I hear President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni arguing ever so eloquently that Uganda, given our history, can only survive on the basis of a no-party system. But I hear the West telling him equally eloquently and a little bit more forcefully that we do not agree with you. We do not agree with you, and your safety not only requires but demands that you must reintroduce multi-party politics. So Yoweri Kaguta Museveni concedes. I hear.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Mima Obibia Akwaba, Seria Uniminadino, Edaso, a doctorate, a D sexy, D ren, D fufra, Asanso Abekaho, a Papagana. Yes, Papagana. So one dia, D no fufra Babekaho, Papagana, and they will be a name say, Yadi Efre, a D sexy. And ladies and gentlemen, any minimum on na enkomo no I wono so wo hwe eye topic no for today topic ne doso ensem ben de wo apono so a ene ye ba behwe a ye ba be kenkan ne ye di sa enkomo no ben ko ba bia yes stick and stay na yintimi eni eye sa enkomo no but before then no my main car will say ebia wo eye a friend saying wo abrochire ana wo Ghana. Oh, Pasasi Biata, just see me. As I say, find one be a CHRAJ. As I say, 2 plots of land for sale. I get CHRAJ. So in case you need any land up so just let me know. And the Ebedin Komo.
As brought was religion, spirituality packaged in man-made forms. And that is why, therefore, you have things like Roman Catholic. You have organizations such as the Anglican Church, the Presbyterian Church, the Episcopalian Church, the Methodist Church. That is religion. Religion is organization of spirituality into a formal thing, which is then controlled by man, claiming to represent God. Africans are therefore spiritual. And I do not want the word spirituality to be used as if it were a synonym of religion. What the colonized, when they came here and abused Christianity, they told us to close our eyes in prayer. And when we opened our eyes, the land had disappeared. That is who they are. They are not our friends. They took Christ to Greek. The churches were there when people were being colonized. They were there when people were being discriminated against.
Yes, of course. I mean, Chia, Wadada. Upon to saying, Lisa, welcome. More, Michelle Waunya Baswa. You share the page, because you're between and Komobi. I think that it is very, very important that we have some conversation. The way our my Ghana Kronoa Akoso under Nanado Danko Kufu Adwa. By this time, the Nanka Shani Musenka and maybe Jinaha Nanka maybe both the names of ministers are Omoda prison. 10 months of John Dramani Mahama's government. We are still yet to see say Yabomodian sentence 1 minister mpo ako a year prison. Is it going to happen? Will it ever happen? Is it the same usual, the MPP and DC that people talk about? Or we are going to see something different? And the OSP, and the Ghana Fooding Komo. What was the conversation about? Briefing us about a Kwanya Ghana for 8 years, Nanado Danko Kufuado's government and the ministers. And go for appointee woman. Ewudia omudi Ghana, sikedia omudi Ghana. De biaye tie sansem we. I'm beginning to think say in 7 ye tie no. AI is so much, even depressing for the Ghanaian. Because ade bechi ade be se bia no. Senye OSP ene baba begyina ho ana oni Ghana fo bedi nkomo a then unhu nipa kro na sebio akwa yese eye the Attorney General ana oni Ghana baba bedi nkomo anya Attorney General na eja eye accountability na ministers abegyina ha we di sikase. Now, question I maybe we say, as a nation, as a country, nipa no omu di sika no. Why are we waiting for? What do you say? Edian pan the air train. You wadada, na wa was up me edi ho komo. En komo edian ya na ye train. Ma bin chia ye I hope say me ame bra ye Mr. Nyamike. Edian ya Anna, you're trying to send these people into prison. You're trying for them. These are questions I've been asking myself. What you say? These are questions I may be some. Say, consider being a better say. Minister Biaba or ye breaking news. Breaking news in the saying, Yache Ebia Ken OFORI-ATTA. Yadinaba Ghana. Breaking news in the saying, Yache a friend is saying, wouldn't me or the prison sentence 25 years of hard labor. Ghana government in South Nigeria Padia, so you're confiscating the assets. Breaking news. Buffer stock, Hanan, Sikabi Briba, where we yet not to prison in a year. When are we going to hear the news? In the end, everybody a yes, I'm common. Now, me brief you and your ma air coso behind the scenes, the amendment here, and the medimi ankasa me so many iden. Na and command me person me yet many would because yen common ni bi ohone nsem ni bi owa a very very depression. Otiasie. So ladies and gentlemen, yen kona eya yentie enkomo no a ene ekoso because I think say I say you din komo no send ye etie pepepe. Now, enkomo ni nyina enie ene say Ora John Dramani Mahama be president. There's been pressure say on pamo eye ono ankasa ni OSP. But the question is say President John Mahama obetimi apamo ni OSP ana. Me sure say enya dia obetimi apamo ni OSP. DNT and wontimi mpamo OSP. Is he in bed with the OSP? Eye kisie jaben. Ana. Then so difficult for the president to sack the OSP if he is not performing. So before fra obetimi aye adwuma. Now me no be kwasa nkomonim enti ya so na tie me. Ora wadada, don't worry, be send you. Iva me mo akwaba. Facebook fo nyina me mamu nyina mo akwaba. Now, enkomoni Samobekaya, the office of the special prosecutor, abindada na nado danko ekufuado ene kofa baye. Oti the office of the special prosecutor no. Ofanko phobia no mo NDC mu a, emu bebre no ayemu hye wo mo. Because hearing the name Alamisi, a former attorney general, and maybe crown no eja, oba be pepre vice president edi. Enti ebonko fo bebre hu ewo NDC MPP winning power na nado danko ekufuado na president. A lot of people thought he said he was a no-nonsense man, one that will fight corruption. Many people believed in him. Myself, I believed in him. I thought he was coming to fight corruption. Little did I know, referred to him as the mother serpent of corruption by his own appointee, Alamisi. What happened? Martinami Dubaye, the office of the special prosecutor. How many people was he able to prosecute? Ye fa no the vetting day. Harun Edrisu and the rest of the NDC people, ebisa the question cry. Many of them were afraid to even ask Martin Amidu questions because they know him. Say, oh, you'll be a untimi emfanenim entry for. He's a tough politician. Tina NDC Fosru. Papa you call special prosecutor office there. One sheni ya, omo that double salary so. I'm ready omo J double salary ne bechi omatu. NDC was afraid of their own Martin Amidu. Because that time, no what 10 home every a year, the so-called the NDC party. And we were looking forward. Martin Amidu Baba Ejuma. Ejuma Ben no de shasi. And while I catch the Kufuor to say, office I had me call on, and yet befitting for me. I need a state-of-the-art office. And one I'm saying there be. This man is not coming to fight corruption. Up a comfort. Because fighting corruption in Ghana, you don't need the comfortability to fight corruption. What you need is the fact. What you need is the document that is based on fact to prosecute people and send them to prison. Now, Martin Amidu, akofa story biaba, edian story a eba saga, any MPP for sumu, me kaipa. And my many MP NDC for be brain no benya asem ewo UK krum ha. Because remember the story eba saga. I was the first broadcaster journalist. I'm a UK, I'm a breaking story now. Live on Joy FM and other media houses. Way from me. I had a document. I had to explain to my people back home about the Airbus saga. So the story, no dear, if John Mahama niyaho, and so enye John Mahama, and wasem and the king. But then the MPP diabolically being smart in propagandist. Estate said, "Womo target the John Dramani Mahama." Ask the man, Eba Saga, ne hu bo mua wa bokro no. No krani say, Ufa Eba's story no John Mahama ni nua. Business eja obi anim se woye. Ene hukoba asem. But the NPP was able to rope in John Mahama. Alamisi made a big case out of it. Osheshe and Seminim, there were pressure from Kufuor to mention John Dramani Mahama as the person where dig Ghana sika. Because at that time, now Kufuor wanted the Ghanaian to understand and say he came truly to fight corruption, and the person that were bought Ghana chrono John Mahama. And I told them, say, that is not the case. That is not what I heard from the Savak Crown Court. Judge, I would not queen him. Yes, Anna Mete, Manti John Mohammadin, ewu. And so still, MPP, any Martin Amidu was ready to make sure, say, they will give a bad name to John Mahama. Eddie Musa, MPP got fed up with Martin Amidu. Martin Amidu himself got fed up with MPP. He got fed up with Kufuor. After other investigations are now all year, who said no, Airbus now within a DDH, no, she now on for the name call other ministries. Or starting so investigations, there was some ministries, and he discovered the rot. And he quickly, as very close pal to former President Jerry John Rawlings, he contacted Jerry John Rawlings and told him, J'avoue, as he referred to President Rawlings, the white man, J'avoue, I have discovered and uncovered some serious corruption under Akufo-Addo's government. We need to do something about it. Elvis, greetings. I need you to support me, to talk about it. OFORI-ATTA, what happened? J'avoue, His Excellency Jerry John Rawlings passed away. Some says it was mysterious death. Others says in the time now, so who am I if the death has called him? Many say anyway. Na maka say, enya nemre na swing. Na say this in a tone when I don't have evidence. Fast forward. Martinamidu, Efri, the office of the special prosecutor. Till date, there is a lot of Martinamidu in him. And I hope you will gather the balls to talk about it. Martinamidu free one day a year branch be a friend Kisi Eja Benbae. Kisi Eja Benbae no so okay. Eba sagana de wo ho. Ba mebo modiana mesuma ya mehwehwe mu ahwe. Se eba saga ya de wo ho yin. Ede ankra ana eja ewo Airbus ni mu a. Mehwe se metimi ede abo John Mahama kwedu. Okohwehwe Airbus saga ni mu a. August 8th, Okachre the nation, Assembly no Okai. Ibekonia Kwaputi, Assemwa, Okaye, Eche Ghana Funyina, the 8th of August 2024. This is what a friend is saying.
President John Mahama has been cleared of any corruption allegations by the special prosecutor. His brother had been accused of accepting bribes on behalf of.
This was the French news, the French national news. Broadcasted live because you see, Akufo-Addo and co are connected. Omono, they are not just the normal politician who Ghana. Omo papanamo, they sat and dined with the white supremacist. Now, one day I will tell you the story about the MPP, Akufo-Addo's family, and how they have destroyed our nation. Not just in terms of stealing our funds and destroying our economy. But we will go deeper into it. But here, what the France news media, a story.
The state from aerospace giant Airbus. Allegations that arose amidst confessions from Airbus officials appearing in US and UK courts. Justice Baidu talks us through.
Ghana's special prosecutor launched an inquiry into these investigations in 2020 after it came out of UK, US, and French investigations into the issue of European aircraft maker Airbus paying bribes of up to 5 million euros to a network of persons that were accused of brokering these deals on behalf of the Ghanaian government. It was part of the scandal that broke in 23 African countries, including Ghana.
While the accepted facts in the two foreign jurisdictions are that the employees of Airbus designed the payments to the intermediaries as bribes intended to court favor with Ghanaian public officials, especially ex-President John Dramani Mahama. On the other hand, the intermediaries appeared to expect and receive the payments as their legitimate expectation under an arrangement of success-based commissions for the sale of the military transport aircraft to the government of Ghana.
Mr. Mahama will be coming up against the current Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, in a very close election.
So this is what happened. Kisi Jabin Edibeto Ghana Fueni. John Dramani Mahama. Ne home bon assembly.
At several polls.
Send ye tiano. Ye kotwaba. Adia ne beka fano. These were the stories are. Kisi Jabin Edibeto Abontin. Or Debeto Abontin. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Or Tiano. Yinti.
Ladies and gentlemen of the media, the processes leading to the purchase by the government of Ghana of 3 C-295 twin turboprop military transport aircraft from Airbus followed substantially the same pattern. Parliament approved the proposed transactions in 2011. In accordance with the laws of Ghana, in the estimation of the OSP, there was nothing remarkable about the deal, and it certainly would not have found its way in the UK and US deferred prosecution agreements and made headlines around the world, but for the involvement of former President John Dramani Mahama and his younger brother of the full blood, Samuel Adam Foster, also known as Samuel Adam Mahama, and his associates, as recounted in the UK and US deferred prosecution agreements. The OSP investigation found no evidence that former President Mahama was involved or played any role in the procurement and maintenance of the agency relationship between Airbus and Foster and his associates in respect of the purchase by the government of Ghana of military transport aircraft from Airbus. And it appears to the OSP that the direct communications and meetings between former President Mahama and officials of Airbus to close the deal were actuated by good intentions on the part of the former president. It also appears that Foster and his associates became involved as intermediaries in the Airbus Ghana deal after the decision by the government of Ghana in preference of the C295 aircraft. Therefore, it seems that Foster's Airbus intermediary role at the time his brother served as the vice president of Ghana was a case of luckless coincidence that attracted the disapproval of the UK and US authorities. The OSP found no evidence that suggests that the involvement of Foster as an intermediary of Airbus and the direct communications and meetings between former President Mahama and officials of Airbus to close the deal between Airbus and the government of Ghana amounted to any corruption and corruption-related offense in respect of which the OSP has a mandate. However, it ought reasonably to have occurred to former President Mahama and the government of Ghana that the familiar relationship between former President Mahama and Foster and the direct participation by former President Mahama in the communications and meetings with Airbus officials were bound to raise reasonable suspicions of improper conduct and dealings, notwithstanding any claims to good faith conduct and above-board dealings, especially in light of the fact that during the first Airbus campaign, former President Mahama was a chairman of the Armed Forces Council by reason of his position as a vice president, and therefore a very key decision maker. Such close proximity dealings by such elected high officials of the Republic and their kin and close associates on behalf of the Republic should neither be viewed favorably nor encouraged, as they give rise to reasonable suspicion of influence peddling and conflict of interest, never mind any intended good faith on the part of the vice president or the president. Then again, the direct participation of the president and the vice president on behalf of the Republic in commercial communications and meetings with commercial entities should not be encouraged either, as they expose these elected high officials to the specter of the slightest hint of perceived corruption that may attend international business transactions. The president and the vice president should be insulated from such direct commercial dealings.
So I know some of them. This is what the OSP said there was no evidence. Say President John Mahama ne ho bon asembimo. Now, clearly, what tells you they say OSP, the investigation now will clear His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. When President John Mahama became president, Oyin Kofo, Oman Kofo position, many thought to say, obey OSP way free. But you see, this particular OSP investigation, we need the heart of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. So he worked with diligence. And that is the reason why enemy wouldn't come with pressure and mount to President John Mahama Mpamo OSP ni nyina no I say we bubu naso. I saw the edua asisi naso until will be a case, because onim say the OSP face pressure to say a Airbus saga ne ho boom. But the OSP stood on his grounds and allowed his conscience to be his judge. And one for a year, the likes of Gabi Asari Ochidako, President Akufo-Addo at the time, Ken OFORI-ATTA and co, to dent the image of John Dramani Mahama ahead of elections 2024. So you see clearly, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, Ubeka said, this is what? A time to also honor Kisi Ejabe to continue his job. So Chinebi and a president, I don't know. But you see, as human as we are, we can change our mind. He's a president who said, Oye bibina se enso nenia, obetimi apamono. But some no woka say the president, His Excellency John Mahama, believes in the work of Kisi Ejabe. Now you see, I have said when it comes to the OSP, say, declare Ken OFORI-ATTA wanted. I have said it. Say, if we want to arrest Ken OFORI-ATTA, we as Ghanaians should put pressure on this current government, not just the OSP, because it is now the turn of the Attorney General, the Ghana ambassador to the United States of America, the military attaches that are being paid with Ghana's taxpayers' money to find us Ken OFORI-ATTA. And I repeat, the OSP has done its job. If you don't believe in his job, you either sack him. And until the president will sack him, the Attorney General, the Ghana ambassador to the United States of America, Victor Smith, and his military attaches in the United States of America should find us Ken OFORI-ATTA. It's as simple as ABC. Because they are being paid with taxpayers' money. They are not just there issuing passports and visas. This case also concerns them. They need to take up this case and make sure they will track Ken OFORI-ATTA and with the USA. Why am I saying this? Myself, here in the United Kingdom, Akufo-Addo beka se osusu se me pese me tuna bangu. A serious case. One fine morning, makwa adwuma. Why mo na ehwehwe me a? Me production team, me management say police for ene enkofo bi free the Ghana consulate, the Ghana High Commission. Omo hwehwe me. The boss besides na dear na my. I'm say I don't know. Call your police if you know. Omo I will my office. It's not say investigations. The Ghana High Commissioner through the President of the Republic of Ghana, Asma say, me tiyuki, and I makes call it say yen tuna binding. Do they want to know? This is a country of rule of law. And yen tentem no ane aswa ni huku ni ebowasu no. In my statement. They went through my phone with some gadgets. They collected certain things. In fact, omo the date, the time. I'm here, me show say I was calling for the overthrow of Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo's government. And I'm telling you, I wish you were there to see. I'm talking about British police service, not just the ordinary police service on the street. So they came prepared. They came prepared. Let me say that. With a van, with their car, with a dog, they came prepared. But you see, one thing I was told and I was taught by my father was that be truthful and truth shall set you free, no matter what. When they came, I was not panicked. And you know, those days, the editor of Modern Ghana, the editor of Ghana Web, those days they will pick my story and they will publish my story. But funny enough, they know operation the editor of Modern Ghana contacted me and was asking whether say Mayor Juma and onyo bia me didn't come. He only monitor my production, my show, and then he published stories on it. So they came. I'm trying to let you understand the powers of Ghana High Commissioner, no? The ambassador of US in the war. You see, when matters come to Ghana, we should insist that institutions work because we pay them to work. Akufo-Addo used the Ghana High Commission. They showed me the letter. Faxed letter from Ghana through to the Ghana High Commissioner. Send his attaché, military people. Yes. One was a naval commander. One was a, I think, was it a, no, he was not a squadron leader. I think he was those military ranks. And two other national security retired military officers were part of it. Free Ghana High Commissioner. And then the Ghana High Commissioner then called for kind of say HOC or say HO or something like that. Was part of it. And then the British police people. It do for about 6 or 7. Son of the British police. Look, my office was surrounded that morning. Even people coming were even, well, you know, a bit scared. And the evidence are there. Not just once, oh, my dear, on 3 occasions. On 3 different occasions. And so, we need Victor Smith. Put pressure on Victor Smith. Yes, to find your citizen. Because the OSP in the area is either you sack the OSP, because when you sack the OSP, you will still have to go after OFORI-ATTA. So reason beyond, think beyond just the OSP. Don't just think because the OSP, even if you hate the OSP, if today we sack the OSP, what next? You will still have to find us, get OFORI-ATTA arrested. That is what you have to plan. Akufo-Addo map, omoba hano, omoba menche on my office, and I come find any evidence supporting the omoba hano. I come back to me. Obviously, Ghana there, but the point I'm say it went to that extent. Now somebody who is a Ghanaian citizen, our finance minister declared wanted, and you think say, oh, Or a friend is saying USA. Me, I met Ken OFORI-ATTA here in London. I showed you the video. The video when my brother Kevin Taylor was claiming his own the shoot here on the trial was Nenyo Noyemia. And I sent it to the national security. And one of my people from within national security sent it to Kevin Taylor. But one Tony Boas, and he came out to say it's only who. Recently, the picture that you saw Ken OFORI-ATTA, it was my own in-law. Mr. Siao, and I sent him a picture. And I told him, so publish a picture no, on the Facebook. And I forwarded it to the national security, and then they gave it to Kevin. Miankasa, my contact, and the whom will try the picture. Or contested my PPP as a presidential candidate. Yes, Kofi Siam, yeah. Dr. Indum, Nenkofonibia, and he is always in US most of the time. Otiasi, because taking care of, obviously, Dr. Indum's business in America. It's one of his rounds, and Papa. And only Papa didn't because of what Papa ne year womo GN Bank and GN businesses. It omeninshia. You understand? So I'm saying, say, Minnesota for say, Ken OFORI-ATTA she Minnesota. One in Washington, one in baby. A man for who no. So it's up to the Ghana High Commissioner there to be smart. Now to me more and not only Ken OFORI-ATTA. Sadinam Temaklo is there. I don't know if now she is also American citizen. Also, she was tried in absentia. I say Onoswe Disika, Maslok Sika. We should be honest to our people if we want to fight corruption. And bring these people to come and face the consequences. And yes, sir, it is a gateway for ministers to still bring monies here when they are in power. And then make sure, say, man will become citizens of that country. And once a buying son, they will quickly come and stay here. And then naturalize. You know, put in a naturalization application, get it, and then blah, 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 and then they move on. Fighting corruption. We for not look uche face if we say we won't fight corruption. Now, so I have to talk on. If we say we want to fight corruption, we have to fight corruption, irrespective of which political party you belong. Because at the end of the day, it is Ghana's money, not your pocket money. So for me, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, onye na adwene so obesaki OSP. So the Attorney General, the Ghana High Commissioner in the USA, and other people must work. The security agencies must team up and quickly bring us Ken OFORI-ATTA. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm free wana menko the other stories and koma beside any war. And command the doors. You be move on quickly near her say you bet me share. Easy. Jane Mensa. A very unknown story, no name, Jacob Buffer stocks. Because you see, under Akufo-Addo's government, under Akufo-Addo's governance, there was a crime scene, as described by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Etiebere Jane Mensa. And what is the story? My member Modiana mempe story na menking kinda exactly Emma Ghana Funyina Ehu. Because we need, like Mustafa said, rescue Ghana. But this time we need to punish the corrupt people. Now, this is the story. Or see, CHRAJ said, CHRAJ dismisses EC's objection to its jurisdiction in corruption investigation relating to the EC's actions in the procurement, retirement, and disposal of expensive biometric election equipment. In short, CHRAJ so person a investigation ewo eye EC oya nhwehwemu bi wo EC eye Jane Mensa, it is finished woman. Anna, a friend said, it is finished. He said, one mahu kwine, and my CHRAJ, and by your investigation. And near my bay, na CHRAJ, so pursue your investigation. CHRAJ said, or pursue a share easy, omo procurement to omo retirement to whom. And I face omo disposal of expensive biometric election equipment. You got to about multi TB. A see in a yam penny. Jane Mensah's on penny. And my day. Yeah, fact, yeah, friend is saying, yeah, investigation. I was a DM corruption cases or so on penny. A dear no catastrophe. Because under a Kufuado, you show me one ministry and an agency, Sebio, a performer, na corruption matters, and your corrupt related, a friend is saying, ministry or agency. Ninyi say aban we say o mianenia obechi almost 80 something minutes MPs na ho no obechi mu be 50 akwa gugu prison me ka me kire aban we say o onhwe ni panim na emom no de no kure e no be fight corruption MPP for na e parliament ne ko mo so beti nke beka eye nkukobuo bi nkukon ketenketi bi na gu ho e wo parliament. I'm being honest. Because chrono boy no nya chrono ketwa. Massive corruption under Kufuado's government. Massive. To the extent that even Kufuado himself was referred as the mother serpent of corruption. Even Al Jazeera reported that Kufuado is a gold mafia. So truly these people came to steal us. So easy, she knows that she is not clean. So she is scared. Because if she is clean, she ought not to be scared. Investigations must go on. What is she hiding? What is the EC hiding? The corruption. And go forward. A Jumon Bayer or my Ghana name. A more than Osama bin Laden. Now, yen koso na yenti. Yen share a year the NDC MPP versus EC. Ye kwa to aban. And some bebre beba yen share nyama e buy. Issues surrounding the 2024 voter register. Errors in a voter registration. A friend said discrepancies in the register. Technology problems. And somewhere, of course, over the 2020 election results, refusal to even testify. Easy no ankasa. Look, this particular easy, Jane Mensah, meno woka say, onipa wo pacho, ama Jane Mensah, mwamu ni mnipakwa, papa penyi bi. Na wafasini Ibrahim Mahama, ora temaklo, ene pacho, ema aduke Mensah. Sika wo medikro no ma bo ewo isi wonko na sika no mu wia no mo bokro na no omo de bi ma Kufuado no na busuanfo o me ka kire mo se busumi bia na Kufuado no ministries ni na ye twa sika e so mo de koma no sen sika no na ema a friend say the big Mahama edu ne so wonko tua no wantua ne de ni bufu ye o de resign fee e ECG no because ministry bia no ni ye twa sika e de to so busumi we so a and so to be this sika we say come President Kufuado. Yes. And now who is that? Chromophobia and NSA. Timidity. I know, say removing Jane Mensah and any deputies no should not end there. They must be prosecuted. They must be investigated. If found corrupt, prosecuted, they must be sent to Insawon prison. And you see, Aban we yoho, Aban ya eche mi yoho, and your mom de Ghana no ho. By now, breaking news now, esenke ye breaking news of Insawon, breaking news Insawon kwa. Because Aban dada no Kufuado ne ba wo mi aka ho no. He was part of it. Maka kyerɛ m sɛ Bawumia kora deɛ ɔyɛ more corrupt than Akufo-Addo. Bawumia yɛ more corrupt than Akufo-Addo. And ɔyɛ more violent than Akufo-Addo. Now aya ɔhyɛ da ayɛ ne ho te sɛ deɛ yɛ package Akufo-Addo. Oh, Akufo-Addo deɛ ɔyɛ oh the battle is the Lord's. He believe in Nyankopɔn na plus mo ka hyɛ na no go and tell Ghana for so the battle is the Lord. Nyankopɔn na wogye ne di. Tie me. So Akufo-Addo no he was packaged. And then Bawumia no mo package ne kura mfa. Because Akufo-Addo ama Ghana fo ani ate. Ya adwene mo da ho. Mon so menhwɛ no. Obedane nsɔhwɛ e de to yeso. So we have to understand. Say sankofo we mo no. Your breaking news should be, oh, Ken OFORI-ATTA has been arrested. He's been, deported to Ghana. He's facing arrest. The next thing I bet you, oh, a friend is saying, former minister for youth and sports has been jailed 50 years in prison. All his asset has been confiscated, sold to the sold or whatever. You bet you and say, oh, Kojo upon and Kromamo, Sika, Muria, Yomudi, they have been, we need to be hearing these news to deter even the people and the Omowa buying sweet. Say Omonson Konko Bokron. Because Krononwa. Yanomo boy, enya krona ketwa. Now, my men won't call a year. A friend is saying some of the story, a year, the buffer stock name. A friend is saying, even today, NHIS data system, what it? The health minister, any boy, a candle new boy, or more back and forth, secret dear. Me just say, ministry bien one agency bien one go for when this cow. Sector by you can see a forensic audit. Said the forensic auditor general ko ye or the about to Ghana for ama ye hu near my course so under Akufo-Addo. A national service authority wa. You can say on your forensic audit. All the ministries are and some about to abontino. Adwa, Fusena, Otia Hajia, Otia, Wakuma Bebo, boom, 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 chak, boom, boom. Chrono dear Bassa. Now, young Quasibili. Yanshe Sikedia Ometi. Anyway, and one of the highlight story I've read is saying OSP, the better Abontin was the GRA SML deal. Our worker says a masterful and mischievous crafted scheme by Ken OFORI-ATTA. I've told you Ken OFORI-ATTA, or the mother serpent of corruption. Bro, what you say, Akufo-Addo the mother serpent of corruption. Or the creator of corruption. What you say, or criminal. Just say, oh, you woodini. Sana mekano. Now, minim se Ghana for say, soja ni bia kobubo, oko pharmacy, oko to edroni osman ne ba no de ne ba ne de edroni ba back, e see edroni bo okosro from the way I was told, no edroni bo okosro. Soja no, SCM kono nkajini sikama no okoya, obubo. This is why I tell the people who are always calling for say, ehia soja and say I am on dwene soja na ehia Ghana ni a wa dwene pa a obetimi fight corruption obetimi reset the nation ama man tumpon no mo ye indiscipline say soja we ye be che o mo ni punish wo it did said soja no a video no cover viral ya chill na lady na wo born asum no so ono nso ne papa ekura 2-star or general. Oh no, stars me no bona beti. Stars me no bona beti. General ban wa bona sum no. Bomba bunu wo. Bomba bunu no. Hey. Military police for no. Omo ya stubborn sin. Military police for no me ya stubborn sin sa police. So yes for now no me military police no mutima ding. Omo hu so ding, omo so sun wa. Nsem hunu yo omo there. 64 for no. Omema ne ni agye wo ewo cells wo pa ami cells omema ne ni agye ne honam ne beto nwom ewia no matam no anop ewia no matam no na ba betu ewiem omo bebu ho aye ntatia nko a red ant ni bi agya wotum de wi ntatia ne ba hwe wo no anajo ne ya tamo ne do aba betu garu mo busa wo ho hyehyew ewo nso hyehye mframa mfa ho. Anyway, it's on the no. Ma quickly. So, ofa NSA and some no I cost no. Ma me ma some. Hey, it will be said ECG CHRAJ by the breakdown of the ECG 189 million spent beyond budget without approval in 2023. Afenyo markets or taste the same way. We trash it or the hospital on the Montenegro. Me sama me kan nyeze me mbo metri no maka asemo we twahwe ache no utiase we twahwe ti me kai mo. Now breakdown of a year the 189 million ECG a year spent budget without approval in 2023 or if a year foreign training almost spending a year 91 million cedis instead of 31 million cedis. Cleaning expenses almost spending 10.4 million instead of 2.8 million. A year a friend is saying honorarium, a year a friend is saying expenses almost spending 4.6 million instead of 3.8 million. A year staff, a year fuel almost spending a year 7.9 million instead of spending 2.8 million. Communication expenses almost spending 7.9 million instead of 4.2 million. A year a friend saying consultant, a year industry a year relations almost spending 13 million instead of spending 2 million. The budget in the moment instead of spending 2 million, almost spending 13 million. A year consultancy expenses almost spending 58.6 million Ghana cedis instead of 40 million. A year stakeholders expenses almost spending a year 49 million Ghana cedis instead of a year 3.1 million. Can you imagine? Professional fees and a year subscription almost spending 1.5 million cedis instead of 731,000 Ghana cedis. Overseas travels almost spending 29.3 million cedis instead of some spending a year a friend is saying 23.5 million. Publicity expenses almost spending 21.8 million Ghana cedis instead of some spending a friend is saying 5.7 million cedis. Approved budget was 144 million Ghana cedis. Expenditure ballooned. Sika almost spending a year was 333 million cedis. So clearly, ECG, Sika dear course, and I've told you, so the former ECG boss, no, the big Mahama, who use private jet, me kind. Me say, who use private jet. Yes, Sika dear we know, definitely a sort of private jet. A young boy will do bear 40 years. I'm not sure so bear 40. Maybe when you be 40, I'm sure to be 40. Young guy. Anyway, Ghana Sikedi no anaja ombedi bi sanity. Mustafa Yusuf approved Gifty Owari's pin as an NS personnel on April 22nd, 2021, allowing her to sweep 6,708,048 pesos from government coffers. National Service Authority. Mustafa, a friend is saying, former Minister of Youth and Sports, or no Mustafa Yusuf, no. Ska, or my via, yes, all that we are saying is we want to see a speedily, a friend is saying, speed in a friend is saying, prosecution, no. Now, in Kofu, we never did that priest because the MBN say Christmas, he banned him with DB, and the MBN. Kabana could di Christmas for prison. Come could di Christmas. Oh, Aha. Eno ena eja imubi no ye hwehwe. So ladies and gentlemen, ma menka saa asem we na menko the buffer stock so because no the charges aba. The charges ni say a friend is saying Hanan Abdul Wahab Alu Diba. No the charges na dia bono no. Say 39-year-old nyini bia nyini bia sa that between February 2017 and 2025 in Accra, in the Greater Accra region, and the jurisdiction of the court did while purporting to the funds of the National Food and Buffer Stock Company Limited to James Tieku Apawu, trading under the name and style of Sortina Enterprise, did steal the sum of about 50,879,210 Ghana cedis only. Johnny says, so how do we get our monies back? That is the question. And I answer you, Busan. You share him say prosecution about content. Then go for we them because so far we are Ghana sika. Obine na yere ne abusuane party members. Sika we nye sika ketwa. Ladies and gentlemen, the only way so mine be tumpon is for all of us to come together and fight corrupt people. Our muwia wa mine sika. The yane say, omuwia yensu wia. Nom diskana ba amanone. Nom diskana ba brochri. Now brochri economy ne koso because people have access to loans. Now brochri economy ne koso ne tumpon. Ewiensu ana abrofu ya say diate. And it is true because the leaders enim dodo ni nim nyansa. So ladies and gentlemen, support this government in fighting against corruption and punish people. That is Ghana. And this is what you and I ebetimi aye de abo enchirima. Senia ebenya sika no a ebetimi aye infrastructure. Ebetimi de sisi hospitals. Ebetimi de be schools, ebie nyuma. Ebetimi abi edi bia boa o man na mo man tumpon. Edi be share research. This is what we need. Amedi men komo na isi no. Ma men kan se mi we nchire Sami Jenfi. Obone homodini. Ewo gold board. Beautiful. The guy is smart. Very intelligent. But the message say onhwe na ontete mebunu ne mabaawa no. Na ebimu beye goldsmith. Oti ase. Ebimu entimi nsua jewelry no. How I kwan fast way anklet anyway no. Because ebeboai. People with skills and talent, I say young men and women go into that industry. Senia ebetimi mebunu ne mabawa no ambenya saa ensano djuma. Ambetimi atre omashim ewo gold board ho. And I think say I see etimi mebunu ne mabawa no a yebetete wo mo kwan befa so metimi jewelries. They will, work with metals, gold from stone, metal. That's it. A bit me aboa my Ghana. Ye kwen nimino. Because Emra and they walk at say Ghana, Omobe, you met me aboa me over 8 billion gold nkwa and fast wayenya. Ebro $8 billion. This government means business. This government really means to reset the nation. Maybe a touch man who will come, I'll come here and I'll tell you. Maybe I deserve to say be praise you. We need to praise them because a jumano Edney. That's what minya obino or born homodenia. What we do is say we support the people. Now, my main can a year win so and I mean the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Emmanuel Amakufibua, honorable, and they Elembele district, MP Nabo Modian spread major electrification project connecting 6 communities. Ewo eye Elembele constituency wo. Eye Abidjan, Esaman, Anloga, Dochekrum, Asori Danho, and New Adiembra. Obomodia, a free say a bow, yes, no moon caniada. Me ankasa mi krum ho. Mi constituency, no is my phone ho. Omuhun caniada. Otias, Omu ankasa krum, ankasa hun caniada. And then the encania de alcohol kama. A beam minister ne ya de biam sisu se semebona baso. And saying, Minister no, abomodia de ni achre Valco. The gold board here, Jumano. Valco so eba. Rago fimichia o. Valco nso ye den eba a wo nso ebo wo homodi nti minister no call na wo call ho no o say minister na charge the management of Valco a Volta Aluminium Company to spearhead the full modernization of company as part of government ambition plans to build an integrated aluminium industry anchored on value addition. And it minister na call wo mo kokose wo mo modern adwuma no mo ye no mo add value, and that is what we need. I've told you we have the natural resources. What we need is to add value to our natural resources so that we can have what more maximum, a friend is saying, a profit. I betim di aboa na emre be do e beka se Ghana ni akwada no a wonye ndu 18 years no Ghana obetimi asori anopa a Ghana betimi aden amane sam sike bi obetimi di atoto no ho a obetimi edi etwetwa no ho se ne ye no abrochire no oti ase wonya nya adwuma. The government can support you here and there. It is possible see betimi ayesa no, but not the possibility of a Baumia and MPP there be. With this government, no, we must keep them in check and ensure say they do the right things. Ladies and gentlemen, my memfamo NC has said, Nyame aduma Sunday, Ghana High Commissioner, or the name of a friend is a Welling, a UK Krumha. Dear no walk no Welling, the walk no Welling in say, or say a ja, or quack or Daniel Kupwasi, now for so only Ghana for a tea Krumha no, asom. Na eja wahwe no ne umaya den edidi nkomo enti wo come Facebook page obehunu se address ne bibia ho. Ladies and gentlemen, madam asese abreni nyina na mebegina ha mo ma menkwa menjina na modi mwani ba behwe na motie nsem mu bi de yese ne hwan wo besie ye mu se ne hwan mo amo ne mpemfo no amohwe enti madam ase na meja mo ho nyame adom so akina, God willing. I will try and see if I can come early. Now, that's how we think. Take good care of yourselves.